Hi everyone, it's Icaro with the Funky High Vibes, and today I want to talk about my 10 favorite tarot decks so far. So this is not about like the 10 top decks of 2020 or 2019, but it's just the ones I've acquired over time, and they have been my favorite to work with. So I'm going to start, well, first of all, I have here the two classic, of course, the Rider-Waite-Smith and the Thoth deck. They're just the classic ones. They're the mother of, not the mother of all tarot, really. But these two are pretty much what everyone else kind of bases their tarot on, their tarot artwork. But of course, always a classic. And I love a classic. These I use a lot, especially for clients and stuff. I really definitely like working with these, but they're not in any particular, these I'm not going to put in any number just because they're classic. They're the mother, right? So coming in at number 10, this deck actually surprised me a little bit. It's the Guardian Angel by Radleigh Valentine. And I had my eye on this deck for a while before I bought it. Sometimes Hay House has these specials on decks that they put all their decks for like $8 or something. So I was like, you know what, $8, let's go for it. So that's when I purchased it. It was during one of those specials. And this deck really surprised me. The book is actually pretty thick. It's a good sized book and it has like good messages to it. They're not super long, which I appreciate. I'll talk about this in the Oracle video, but Alana Fairchild, who is another one that I love as well, but her messages are pretty long. So I'm not doing like full readings with her decks. I'm just pulling like one card. But these are concise enough where I get a good message, but my intuition still works. So I'm not just dependent on the book. But I love this one because it says the world's gentlest and sweetest tarot cards. Isn't that cute? Plus it has like some glitter on it, which I'm all about glitter. I love glitter, even though you couldn't tell because I wear black all the time. But for example, they don't have cards like the Fool or Death or Justice. The Fool, they call it a new beginning. And it's a little wordy too. But honestly, after a while, it doesn't bother me. Now, I also think it's kind of cute how it's decorated. The backs here kind of looks like your grandma's like tablecloth. But I love that. I really do. I love pink. And there's a lot of that in this deck. And I just love the sweetness of it. Go Within is the High Priestess. Organization is the Emperor. So I find this to be really interesting. Choose Freedom is number 15, the Devil. So I love that because it puts a really positive spin on it. Meanwhile, because I thought it was just be like, oh, I'm going to get like really positive messages all the time, which would be great, but doesn't always help with self-development. But this deck, even though it says like choose freedom instead of the devil, it doesn't shy away from the real messages. Out with the old, in with the new is the Tower, which I love that as well. And then you have Messenger of Thought. So Thought is the swords, and then Messenger is the page. And then you have a Helper of Emotion. Emotion is the cups, and the Helper is the knight. Then you have the Healer of Abundance. Abundance is the coins or discs. And then Healer is the Queen. And then you have the Guardian of Action. Action being the wands and Guardian being the king. So this deck really surprised me. I thought I was going to use it more like an oracle, or I thought I was going to be like, oh, I have it in my collection, but I'm not going to touch it that much. But I use it quite a bit, actually. So coming in at number 9 is the Ghetto Tarot. Now, the name could be a little bit better, but it's an artist, a photographer, Alice Smeets, who I know she's European, but I'm not sure where she's from. But she got together with a group of Haitian artists, and she took a series of photos based on the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. And they're big. They're bigger than a regular tarot deck. Let me get one to compare. So they are a lot bigger, taller, and wider. So kind of like oracle sized. These are, the book is thin. It's nice. It's your little It's a little white book, a little bit bigger than a little white book, but still good quality. These are the backs, because Haiti is very known for their voodoo. So I know that this is like a voodoo symbol. I just don't know that much about it, but I know that it kind of looks a lot like that. But it's made with materials that they have around them. So everything was like made. I love this Lovers one. So you see, like, they cut these out. It's like their own clothes, you know, their own surroundings. I love this Nine of Swords as well, which actually on here they call it the Nine of, oh, here we go, Ace of Machetes. So I think that's cool. So they did it with like materials they found around Haiti, around their town. Although Haiti's not a town, but I'm not sure which town they were at. I don't think it says. But yeah, so like it's just with materials that they have, with materials that they've built, with clothes that they own. So I don't know. I thought that was really brilliant, and I think it came out really beautiful, and it reads really well. It still has the power of the tarot in it. But I think the images came out really beautiful, and they really evoke emotions, and makes for a really good reading, honestly. So the next one, number 3, is the Patch Tarot. Now this is a second edition. I used to have the first edition, but I gave it to a friend. Just because when I got the second edition, I was like, oh, these cards are a little bit smaller, actually, which it's nice. They're like compact, so you can take them anywhere you want, and they don't take up a lot of space. And they're thicker also than the first edition, so they last longer. But the images were very similar. So I was just like, you know what? My friend was learning tarot at the time, so I was like, here we go. And it's a really good deck. It's a combination of the Rider-Waite-Smith and the Thoth Tarot. The little book that comes with is just your little white book, but this one's, you know, really cute. And they do have a Patch Tarot book that's big. When I bought this, it comes with the digital version, so I have it on my computer. But the physical copy is like $80 or $90, so I'm not gonna do that. But so they call the child, the Fool is the child, which I actually kind of love that. Then you have your Magician. This Magician looks very much like the Thoth Tarot. You have the Hierophant. So it's really colorful, the Hermit, the Star. So it's really colorful, kind of like cartoon-ish, but don't let the images or the cartoon aspect of it fool you. The messages here are amazing. It's a really powerful deck, actually. It really is. Like, it really evokes a lot, and it does draw you in, you know. But at the same time, I think because it's so colorful and beautiful, it maintains a lightness to it. Also, it has keywords up here and the reversal keywords here. It also has the element. So hold on, this is the King of Wands, so it's fire on fire. But for example, the Hierophant, you have the Hebrew letter, and then you have the astrological sign or the planet that it's related to, which is also really nice when you're learning, because then it's kind of like right here on your face. You don't have to kind of search your brain to be like, wait, what was that again? Okay, so coming in, where are we? Number 4? 1, 2, yes. I can count. It's the Prism of Visions Tarot. I have the 4th edition. I really wanted the 1st or 2nd edition because it comes with an extra card. And the extra card of those was really beautiful. I think the first one was called the Strawberries, which I think is cute. And for the 2nd edition, it was the Gift, which I think that's awesome. But I didn't like the 3rd edition, the last one. I forgot what it was called, but I didn't like that extra card. So I got the 4th edition. I waited for it. So this is the Magician. This is the Hermit. This deck, I will say this, sometimes it's a little hard to see because the Hermit is right here at the end. You have the Devil, And then again, this is a good example of what it's hard to see because it took me a few times to use this deck to realize there's a snake here. Right? So these are the major arcana. The sun is gorgeous, and they have borders. And this is the winged boar, which is the question mark, which is the 79th card. So the major arcana has borders, but the minor arcana don't. And the beautiful thing about the minor arcana here is that the Eight of Pentacles and the Seven of Pentacles, if you put them together, oh wait, the other way. If you put them together, they create a panoramic view. So isn't that amazing? So each suit from Ace all the way to the Kings, they connect. The major arcana doesn't, but the minor do. It comes with its own little white book. It's honestly a good size. The messages are small, but they're pretty powerful as well. But like, I love the artwork style. It's very Van Gogh-like, and I love that. I love art. I'm not an art connoisseur by any means, but I am an art lover. So I saw the art style of this deck, and I was like, I have to have it. Plus, the box is just absolutely gorgeous, and it reads. And I also love the silver edges. It's really beautiful. Yeah, so I love reading with this deck. I really do. But because the images are busy, sometimes it's hard to see. Next one is the Light Sears Tarot. This deck, I got the indie version, so it's number 1,881 out of 2,500. This deck came out with the Muse Tarot, and I will be honest with you, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I hate the Muse Tarot. I've seen images of it, and I don't like it. To me, the images don't say anything. They're empty. But it's only my opinion. If you love it, it's totally up to you. Totally awesome. Now, this book, it's Chris Ann, and she likes to write. So this book is pretty thick. But she offers you also like, where is it? Like questions for the seer. She offers the message from the Seven of Cups, this one, key concepts, and an experience overview. So like, she gets into it, and the questions for the seer is like journal prompts. It's lets you dive a lot deeper into this tarot deck. And the Light Sears is honestly one of my favorites. So I have the indie version. I don't have the mass-produced version. So it's edged in green, and these are the backs. It's pretty her classic back, which it's beautiful. And I love these images. The color palette is gorgeous. This is the Fool. This is the Keeper of the Sacred, which is the Hierophant, which I love. I love the Keeper of the Sacred. I love that name for it. This is the Justice card. I love that, kind of like your yin yang. This Queen of Pentacles is, I think, one of my favorite Queen of Pentacles in any tarot deck. She just looks so beautiful. The Knight of Cups. So it's very modern. You know, this guy is just jeans and, what are these called? Converse. You know, but the symbolism here, you see that he's just like a guy that's bringing in the message of love. This Two of Cups is so gorgeous. So a lot of rainbow colors in here. Six of Cups, nostalgia. Then you have your Ten of Pentacles. So it's very modern, very young, very colorful. And I think it speaks a lot. And honestly, whenever I read for clients, they always want to take a picture of the deck because it's so beautiful. And it speaks, it's not like, let's say old school, like the Rider-Waite-Smith. It's very modern. So people find it easy to see themselves on the cards versus being like, oh, that person looks like a queen, and I'm not dressed like a queen. I'm in jeans and a t-shirt. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. So number 5 is the Cosmos. The Cosmos Tarot. I debated actually putting this in the tarot category because once you start working with it, you quickly realize it's not really a tarot deck. It's an oracle deck. But I did put it on here because it is a tarot deck in the sense that it has the 4 elements. It has all the major arcana. but it's 100 artists. So that the remaining 22 is the oracle part of it, because they do call it tarot and oracle. But I actually work with both of them at the same time. I work with them. I just make a whole big thing. And here's why. So 100 artists. So every card is a different art style, which I love. So this is Venus, number 2 on the oracle. And then this will be the star. Now, here's the thing. The star, as I know it, is ruled by Aquarius. Here, they have it as Gemini. And the element of air. And then the keywords, which I like, but it says stimulation, interaction, and communication. To me, that doesn't say the star in the traditional sense, but I have read with this deck many times, and the readings that come out of it are actually on point. They're actually dead on. But I have to kind of take my scholar self, my tarot scholar self out of the equation and just look at this as like, okay, what is this card telling me? And how does this card relate to the rest of the reading? Forget that it's the star and the meaning of the star. Just go with what it says here. So that's why I mean that it's like more of an oracle. This one is the devil, but then they call it Andromeda versus Capricorn. So you see what I mean? Like, it's which I love too. I don't know if you guys can see the gold here, the gold foiling a little bit. That's the constellation of Andromeda. So they do that with the constellations. Do you guys see that an angle? Hold on, I'm getting a glare. There's an angle here. That's the Coma Berenices. Cool. You have the Canis Minor, which would be the page of Earth. You have the page of Air. And then you see this one a little bit easier to see, the constellation. So I love that. And honestly, again, it reads incredibly well, even though the art is it's actually a lot of fun. But the art is different, at every turn. But it is a really awesome deck. And it also surprised me. I got it just because I was like, ooh, it's one of the first decks I got. And I got it because it was like, oh, it's artsy, right? It's beautiful. It's like 100 artists made it. It looks really cool. It looks luxurious because these are the backs, very cosmic. And then you have like the gold foil. And then it's like tarot plus oracle together. It's like, it's going to be awesome. And it really is awesome. It reads amazingly well. Now, the next one is the Tattoo Tarot. In this one, I love tattoos, obviously. So, of course, I had to get the Tattoo Tarot. This is more Marseille inspired. And this box, you guys see the gold foil and you see the detail that it has. This is really cheap, actually. I bought it for, I think, under $20. Maybe like $16, $17. When normally a box like this and the cardstock is really good, it would go for like $30. So I was very happy. The book is pretty thin, very thin. Doesn't really offer you that much. You see, like, just these 2 pages is the entire sword suit, right? And then you have, these are the cups. The court cards are just that, very small. And then you have the numbers, what the numbers mean collectively, which I like that a lot. You have actually a couple of spreads. That's cool as well. And the major arcana is at the end of the book. So you have just like color image and then a little blurb about it. Which I think, for me, this deck requires you to know a little bit more about the tarot before you dig into it. But it's a Tarot de Marseille style, which what that means is that it's a pip card. So you have the High Priestess, and the Devil, very old school style. The Fool, but also like very tattoo based. You can tell that like a tattoo artist made it. The Magician, the Star. I love the Star. If you've been to my website, you're gonna see this card because I took a picture of it. Now, this deck is known for its beautiful court cards. Look at this Queen. She's gorgeous. This King looking mighty. This knight looks very handsome. How you doing, baby? And this King of Cups. See, like, they're actually good-looking people. Even though they're just cartoons. This Queen of Swords looks badass, and I love her. Queen of Coins. See, that's what I mean. It's the two of swords here is a pip, so it's just like two swords. But then you have the beautiful rose in the middle, the Ace of Wands, Ace of Swords. This is the Nine of Coins. You just have like 9 coins in it, but it has like little symbols on it, which really help with the reading. You have the Seven of Wands, and you have a banner here of like victory, you know, Seven of Wands is more like a struggle, actually, not so much victory. That to be the Six of Wands. So you see what I mean? Like, it can be a little confusing because you have to remember the numbers. But a lot of people are familiar with Marseille more than Rider-Waite-Smith or Thoth. So, oh, and these are the backs. Kind of like playing cards. I don't know. I love this deck. I really do, especially for the price too. Boom. Okay, so next one. Where are we? Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This would be 8. Yes. So card number 8 is the Dahle Tarot. And I'll show you guys the actual box that it came in. It's massive. I know. It's massive. It's like velvet. And you have the gold foil. You open it up, and it's got a big book. It's pretty thick too. And it's tall. And then the cards come in this cutout in here. The cards are bigger than a regular Rider-Waite-Smith. They're a little bit wider, but a lot longer, a lot taller, I mean. But this one is actually Salvador Dali made it. He actually painted these. So this is Knight of Cups, and I love that it's Napoleon Bonaparte. I love that. You have your swords, and this painting, actually it's more of a sculpture. I believe it's called the Ecstasy of Mary Magdalene or something. The Four of Wands, you have the couple here with the 4 wands, pentacles, the moon. It's honestly a really weird deck. But it's Dali, right? It's Dali, so of course it's going to be weird. You have the Two of Cups here, which this one is interesting because you do have the 2 lovers, right? But he's kind of like running away from her. I believe he is. The book explains everything, so don't worry about it. And then you have Dali's signature, but I believe it's Cupid leaving his lover. You have the Hanged Man. It's just a really interesting deck and really different. One thing here too is that, for example, Judgment, and it's I'm gonna get it wrong, all right. The symbol, I believe it's Pisces. Judgment is not Pisces, as we know. So it's not traditional. For example, the Hermit, they give it to Mercury, right? Is it Mercury or Taurus? I'm not sure, actually. They look a little similar. But the Hermit is not that. The Hermit is a Virgo. So at least it's what I've learned. So it's a little bit different, but honestly, you ignore that and it's fine. Like, Knight of Wands. Yeah, it's just a really, I am in love with this deck for sure. So next one, card number 9, is another Tattoo Tarot, and it's the 8 Coins Tattoo Tarot. And I use this deck a lot. I use this deck for myself, for clients. Actually, not for myself that much, but I use it for clients. The book that comes with it is a pretty thick book, but the messages are not as long. But I just like that you have a full image, and then you have the message that comes with it. And I also like that it's divided here, so you kind of know where you're looking, where you're going. Now, it's also a little bit bigger than a regular card, but not that much. Not that much. I honestly prefer bigger cards. This size of card is perfect. For me, anyway. So you have, like, again, tattoo-based. This Justice is awesome. I love this magician. It's very different. But you still have all the symbols, you know, his hand. I don't know if you guys can see the teeth here and the snake that coils around. But you still have the sword, you have the cup, the wands, the coins. They're all here. This is the Four of Wands. Isn't that interesting? Kind of looks like a centerpiece. You have a Queen of Cups, your mermaids. This is the Ace of Pentacles. You have your Knight of Pentacles, which I love that. Hit the Knight up here. The Two of Wands. You still have the globe. You still have the wands. The Hierophant. This Hierophant is interesting to me as well. Then you have your Seven of Wands. It's a different deck. This is a Ten of Wands. The King of Swords. I love how dark he looks in this, because to me the King of Swords is more of a darker energy. Now the interesting thing here is that, like, this drawing, for example, is drawing number 10. It says here on the little corner. This one is drawing number 41. So she drew them out of order, and that's okay. It doesn't bother me. The thing is, there are a few extra cards because you can actually see the progression of how they get more sophisticated. So I'll show you guys. So this is the Three of Cups. Very traditional. We know this deck. We know this image a lot. And it was drawing number 2. It came black and white. But then this is drawing number 81. So this is towards the end. And it's, again, the Three of Cups again, but different. So you see how it gets more sophisticated. It gets more the style of Lana Zellner. That's the name of the artist. Same thing here with the Ten of Cups. This is drawing number 4. So you see the colors. It looks kind of like crayon or a colored pencil, which is okay. I don't mind that. But then you have this Ten of Cups, which is drawing number 82. So she drew them and then she went back. Do you see how this is more like tattoo style, right? This is, again, a little more traditional with what we know about the Rider-Waite-Smith, but then this is Lana Zellner's style. So it's just really, really beautiful to see how art evolves and changes. You have this star. This is drawing number 3. So I showed you guys 2, 3, and 4. And then you have the star drawing number 80, which is very similar. She didn't really change that much, but there's more of a tattoo, like traditional tattoo style. But this deck, and actually I keep all of them. I keep all of them in the deck. Initially I didn't. Initially I actually took these out and I was just like, oh, they were going to make, like, I can put them here, you know, I can make them into a magnet and just put them up because they still are beautiful. But I do keep them. I keep them in the pile because often they don't come together. I don't get 2 stars in one reading or 2, 3 of Cups. But if I do, and I have very rarely, I find that they create a progression. Just like here, the Three of Cups, for example, that was in black and white, usually comes out in the beginning. And then it's like, oh, your happiness is not in color yet. So it's not, it hasn't come to fruition. And then you have the other Three of Cups that's fully in color. And I love how the teacups are stacked, which is almost, to me, it tells me that it's like, oh, you've had the party, you've had your fun, and now you feel happy because you've socialized. It's almost like dirty dishes in the sink. They symbolize that the party is happening or has happened. So you have that good feeling about the party. That's how I see that. So we've gotten to my number 1 tarot deck. My absolute favorite, and it's the True Black Tarot. It's a matte box, but it has this glossy foil to it. It's so beautiful. It's so luxurious. It comes with its own little white, little black book. But the messages, however small, they make a lot of sense and they're really good. Now here, so you have your back also matte with this gloss. It's edged by the artist himself, Arthur Wang. So it's edged in black. and then you have your cards. These cards actually they're really thick. They're really thick cards where like it's actually tough to riffle shuffle. You know, and plus because they're thicker, it makes it for a thicker deck. So it's kind of like chunky in your hand, but that doesn't bother me because it's absolutely stunning. This is the Hermit. This is the Devil. You don't get a more beautiful devil than that. This is Death. So they all have this gloss that disappears and appears as you go, even the name as well. And I don't remember actually, but these symbols, I believe they come from the Tao. It explains it in the book. All these symbols are explained in the book. I just don't remember them. This strength is absolutely stunning. I love that it's a snake. So they all have this. Oh, this is the extra card. It's called Anant. And I believe it means like the infinite, right? The eternal creation of things. This is Temperance. So it's black and white, but then you have, okay, this is 10 of Swords. And I'm sorry, it's a 9 of Swords. And you don't get a more not sophisticated 9 of Swords than that. Even this, something kind of violent, is so beautiful. This Lovers. So as you see, it's black and white, but minimal color. There's reds, gold, and it's pretty much just those colors. This is the Empress. And it's pippish. It's a pip card, pip deck, I mean. You have your 4 cups. And they all are like that. It's almost like there's a spotlight on top here, right? And then you have your elements. This is the Page of Wands. I'm sorry, Queen of Wands. This Ace of Cups is absolutely beautiful. So I am in love with this deck. It reads like no other. Honestly, to me, it reads absolutely amazing, incredible. I love it. This is a Star. Yeah, it's honestly absolutely my favorite. This is the High Priestess. It is my favorite deck. I don't take it out anywhere. I don't read it for other. I don't read it for clients. I don't take it out to events or classes because it was expensive. I'm not gonna lie, it was expensive. It was a bit of an investment for me. Not really, but you know, I was just like, you know what, I want it. It's so beautiful. I was flirting with it every time I saw it online or I saw the pictures, and I was like, I have to have it. So because I like to take care of my decks, especially that one, I don't take it out, but I do read it. I use it here and on YouTube, and I use it for other readings, but it stays here. So now I actually want to make a special honor, an honorable mention, a special mention to the Spirit Keeper's Tarot by Annabelle Wen. Now, this deck is special to me because it actually competes for the #1 spot with the True Black Tarot. It really does. The True Black Tarot is just really beautiful and sophisticated and just absolutely gorgeous to look at. And it's a powerful deck. It really reads absolutely well. But the Spirit Keeper's Tarot is, I think, one of the deepest, if not the deepest, tarot deck I've ever owned. It's a really beautiful. It's all hand drawn by Annabelle Wen herself, and I have the second version. So I have the Vitruvian version. She came out with the first edition, which is black and white. I have here the gold edging, and so this is more of a sepia tone. These are the backs. And I love it because so you have the 3 of Orbs, which is the 3 of Discs or Pentacles, but she assigns almost like a spirit to each card. So this one you have the Mason. This one you have the Force, which is strength. Then you have Archangel Commander. We're going to talk about the Archangel in a second. The Warrior, which is number 19, the Sun. So, or the Emperor, Commander of Intellections. You have I love this, the Memory Keeper. And it's the Six of Chalices or the Six of Cups. And as we know, the Six of Cups is about nostalgia, about childhood. So the Memory Keeper is such a clever name for it. Another thing that she did is, I'm going to grab it here in a second. So Benabel Wen, if you know her, she writes a lot. Like, she doesn't do anything simple or small. So this is the book of maps that came with the tarot deck. It's massive. I'll be very honest, I haven't read this yet, but it has 740 pages. In this deck, the Spirit Keeper's Tarot comes with its own little white book, so you don't have to get all of this. I did it because I like studying in depth and I like seeing what other people do with their cards. But it still comes with its own little white book, and it is a mixture of the Rider-Waite's Myth and the Tarot. So you don't need to get her. She has a 22-week course on this deck. You don't have to get that. You can just literally get the deck, open it up, and start reading it, and you'll be fine. If you know tarot, you'll be fine. Even if you don't, the book helps you. The one clever thing that she also does is she gives you 3 fools, and she calls them differently. So you have, the first one is the Initiate, which here says Spirit in Search of Experience. And then you have the Seeker, which is Spirit in Search of Science. And then you have the Keeper, which is Spirit in Search of Spirit. So she talks about how the experience and even the science one is you're asking for answers. Like, you're looking for answers, you're looking of what to do, for the science one and the experience one, you're looking for practical advice. With the Spirit one, I know there are differences between these two. I'm honestly not remembering the exact differences right now, but the experience, the science, and the Spirit have different, because these are not clarifier cards. What are they called? Someone's yelling at me right now, telling me what the card is. Indicators. I'm sorry, they're indicators, meaning that they represent me, right? They represent the seeker. They represent the querent, the one who has the question. So if I'm asking Spirit to kind of like for Spirit contact, I use this deck or this card, I mean. But if I'm asking for like practical answers or experiences of what to do, then I use one of these two. So there's a bit of a difference there. I keep all 3 of them in the pile and I just shuffle with them. I don't really use indicators. So don't feel like you have to use these 3. I just kind of shuffle along, and if one comes out, then whatever the message is, I go for it. Now, another clever thing that she does here is that there are no pages, knights, queens, and kings. There are, but she calls them differently. So the stronghold are the pages. Then you have the shining something. So this is the shining winds, and it's the sword. The sword, so the Knight of Swords. And you have the shining something else. So it's like the shining something. Then you have the shields, which are the queens. Which I love this because it makes the queens not be like these feminine, like, oh, I'm just sitting on my throne being like quiet. No, they're shields. They're warriors and protectors, right? And that's what the women are. They are protectors. So I absolutely love that it's the shield. And then you have, for the kings, you have the archangels. This is the Archangel of Mysteries, angel who illuminates the shadow. And this would be the King of Orbs, or the King of Pentacles, or the Archangel, of Mysteries, which would be the Archangel of Orbs in this deck. Now, the True Black Tarot, I do use it for myself a lot, and I use it for YouTube videos, and I use it for, I use it a lot for myself. But this deck, the Spirit Keeper's Tarot, is actually only reserved for me. I think it's important that for everyone that is in the spiritual path, right, that uses cards, that pulls cards, and especially for me, that I read for other people, and I read a lot for other people. I go to events, I teach classes, so I have my decks that I use for the collective. But I find it important for myself, and for you, of course, you follow your own path. But for myself, I think it's important to have a deck that's only mine. I haven't created one for myself yet. I will, but this one is the one that I use only for me. I am showing you guys right now, of course, because it's no secret. Everybody knows this deck. But I don't see it photographed a whole lot. So I have a suspicion that this deck is not only just mine, but it's for other people, that they use it for themselves as well. Because of the archangel aspect, because of the shield aspect, because of these different spiritual meanings, right? The Two of Wands is the discerning one, discernment, making a decision. The bereaved, the Three of Swords, heartache. And then you have Goddess Isis here as well, adding a whole new depth to the reading. So this deck to me is incredibly powerful. Not only because it comes with 22 weeks of study, in-depth study, but because the images really, really speak to me. They really evoke, oh, here we go, the shining flame. They really evoke a lot. The joyous one, the Ten of Cups, they just evoke a lot of emotions, and they call forth a really deep reading. So that one I just wanted to give a special shout out to, and for you guys to take a look at. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's a little bit long. I tend to talk a lot, but thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for looking at the decks and enjoying the video, guys. Peace out and much love.